All right, people, we're back. I got a fill-in host here. Michael Stevens is in Alaska, so Matt Rutledge is here to help me stay on track and talk about OG News. I like this.
That's right.
Should we change it to like the dialed-in OG News podcast or something?
Current
like
events, right?
Yeah.
Current events.
Current chaos, which I was just looking. The giveaway starts on Sunday. It's going to be freaking awesome. But I am totally unprepared because I just finished the red one. Kurt just picked it up yesterday.
Yeah.
And so I don't have all my videos ready to go. So we got to talk to Waba about what I'm going to do for the first day. Maybe I should just do
well, we do. I mean, we have some of the giveaway items here.
Yeah. So all the stuff
about it today.
So it'll be launched on the site.
Right.
But normally I would do like an intro to the giveaway on the first day, and it would go up on the channel. I just wasn't paying attention to how fast May was blowing by here. I thought I was doing great by pushing it back a month, and I'm not prepared. So the good news for me is like everything's set up. So the red one's done. My GT4S just kind of has to sit there. It's chopped liver for now. Just sit there, dirty and unkempt, and so I'm ready to start the white one. I'm excited because I got all the parts, like everything. Got the wheels. I got the wheels last week. I've got all the carbon diffusers and intake, exhaust. All the parts have arrived from GRP, and so I'm like ready to rock on this thing.
Hey, John. So a lot of guys are saying audio. Yeah. So bear with us, guys, on the audio. We're working on it. Maybe we want to.
So that means I'm muffled.
Yeah, because you've been doing all the talking as usual.
I'll start over. It's all right. We're only live.
That's right. That's the benefit of a live podcast. You get all the mess, right?
Yeah. Let me check it. What's going on here? Let me go back to videos. Sorry, everybody, if you can hear my muffled sound.
The good news was we were on time.
Yeah.
Right? So we got here on time. We're not 10 minutes late.
Oh, that was the...
Not listenable. Great comment.
Mm-hmm. Oh, then live. How can I not find the live stream? There it is. I just want to see. How can I not find?
Doesn't sound too bad on your phone.
There it is. I just want to see. Rewind here.
Bear with us.
How fast May was blowing by here. It's certainly listenable, but it's annoying. And I'm not prepared. So the good news for me is like everything's set up. So the red one's done. My GT4S just kind of has to sit there. It's chopped liver for now. Set up. So the red one's Gosh, they're so dramatic.
So we got here on time. We're not 10 minutes late.
Yeah, yours sounds good. It's just mine.
So it says, sounds choppy, is what the guys are saying. Again, bear with us. We're obsessing. Don't worry. We didn't give John a lot of chance to get it set up. We kind of hit the door. Didn't do a pre-test, so our bad.
Let me see how it's going here. Check 1 2. Testing Matt's audio. 1 2 1 2 1 2. Check 1 2. Testing Matt's audio. 1 2 1 2 1 2. Is it good? I think it might be good. Check 1 2. Testing Matt's audio. 1 2 1 2 1 2. I'm in an endless loop of listening to myself back. All right, let's see if this works. Tell us how we're doing. Does it sound okay? Everybody says, some people are saying a little bit better. I'll start rambling again. What did you change? We got them some thumbs up here.
I think we get going.
Okay, hear you
Back
loud and
on
clear.
track.
Hear you loud and clear now.
Back on track.
All right, so let me restate that. All right, we're starting the podcast now. Put it in the comments. Starting at what minute are we on? Minute 9 or minute 14:47 or something like that. But yeah, so the giveaway, the Amira giveaway, starts on Sunday, and we've got. I think this is the coolest batch of stuff we've had to this point.
It gets better and better every time.
We're clipping again. Check 1, 2. Yeah. I don't want to back away from the mic. This is how I do it. So, the giveaway items that we have, we put quite a bit of thought into it. So there's, I got a little list here. There's 4 things that aren't here yet that if you order. So we have posters. There's a little story on this. So Fred from California,
right.
The green garage we did.
Yeah, green cabinets.
The what do we called it? The ultimate car barn garage or something like that. He had bought me, Mike, and Mike a Shinola clock, which is really awesome.
Right.
And so we talked
neon?
to Shinola.
Did it have neon on it?
No. It basically looks like a watch but in a clock form.
Right.
Really, really cool. So those will drop ship. The coffee that we have is there's like some friends of like the guys, not my friends, but some friends of the guys in Orlando that made us like a little bespoke coffee for the giveaway. And then there's posters that'll drop ship. And then we're waiting on our stock we have a puzzle of the car, I think. We have some 2 shirt designs, a leather key fob, and then we're doing the Weber Workshop. Those, you like these, the $600 salt and pepper grinders.
Yeah, the grinders. Yeah, those are back.
Huh? That's a Matt Rutledge refused to buy kind of item, right? So you would never buy that.
My wife wouldn't let those in the house if she knew how much they were.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Yeah, so that's the like ultimate salt and pepper grinder. They're like made out of like CNC'd aluminum and then anodized. They're pretty sweet.
But they make the steak taste better, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Of course,
you get a proper grind. These guys here, they put on the table. So these did really well last time. It's a really well done. Bryce designed these. I'm pretty sure Bryce designed these, but a really, really well done titanium valve stem cover. And you can do it in black or raw titanium, and you lose a couple of ounces in your car.
Right. Improve your lap time.
You hope that no one steals these, but these are pretty sick. We sold like 1,000 of these in the last giveaway. But just to remind you how giveaways work, Matt, remind you how this goes.
Yeah.
We buy I buy a bunch of stuff.
Right.
Sell it, and I have to sell different things than what's on the normal site. Yeah. So I hear this often. I'm holding my cart. I'm going to buy a bunch of stuff. I said, I appreciate that. Please buy a bunch of stuff like you normally would. But I have to have different items. I need to sell different extra stuff in order to get anybody to in order to be able to pay for the darn car. So I sell stuff. Hopefully I sell enough stuff. The car is going to be $150,000 when it's all said and done. And then I'm going to spend 150 hours on the darn thing getting it dialed, and then we're going to pick a winner at the end, and hopefully somebody cool wins it. That's the plan. And so we have some really cool stuff.
The car's cool.
Yeah,
I mean, we had the car at the track last week.
Yeah.
Right? It's kind of a stormtrooper vibe. It looks really good. I mean, the red car looks so good in the garage, but when we saw the white-black car out at the track, I was really blown away at how good it was.
Everybody said, the common thing was like, well, which one should I do a giveaway on? And everybody's like, well, I want the white one. So I picked the white one, but, I kind of like the red one after getting it all polished and everything. Yeah. But the white one's going to look full Matty spec. It's going to look really cool. Mm-hmm. Wheels, tires, suspension, exhaust, the whole thing. But yeah, the car's nice. So I love the car. To keep it forever. Then I drove it on the track and my head was hitting the roof with the helmet. I'm like, I hate this car. It's terrible. And then I drove around some parade laps and stuff. We were doing some lead follow footage without the helmet, and I'm back in love with the car. I don't think it'll be a permanent car in my garage, but it's certainly one of those things that's different.
Yeah.
It's a car that I think you need to experience, and whoever wins it, I doubt they'll keep it for life. It would be something.
Well, if you're normal size like me, I mean, it's probably no big deal.
Yeah,
I didn't drive it, but I mean,
the
I sat in
the
it.
one
It
part I
felt
don't
fine.
like is the the seating position.
Right.
And I might fix that. I might get some tilt seats and
Right.
put them in there and fix
Yeah,
that.
lower it down a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm doing full that I normally do. Just build it the way I would build it for me. And so I spent, I don't know, a couple of weeks doing all kinds of research trying to find the best parts for it, talking to different people, talked to my friends at IND. So Nate at IND had one. And so he gave me some input. And then the guy, the whisperer, the Lotus Whisperer is Greg from GRP.
Okay.
And so his whole business is based on Lotuses. And so
Right.
all he does is make and sell Lotus parts. And so so GRP Performance is where I got like 95% of the stuff, which is cool. He's kind of curating the best parts, and so I was able to get it all from one spot. It's awesome.
Right. That's great.
So my whole closet where my air handler was is filled with cool stuff.
There's
Ready to put on it.
every little room in this place is filled with stuff, right? And that's at your house, and then here we've got tires, we've got wheels, we've got
It
cabinets.
stresses me out.
So that was one of our topics is what's going on with OGHQ, and maybe you and I have been doing a little bit of work, a little bit of swizzle on the building plan.
So I got the building in. I took possession of it the end of December of 2024.
Yeah.
Right. So I've had it for a year and 6 months now. Right.
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't move in until March.
Right.
April.
Yeah,
So it was
it's a
4 months.
permit issues, occupancy
Right.
issues.
4
right?
months to get occupancy,
Yeah.
and I was still finishing the LZ project when they made the move.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't really take ownership of the building until I got back in the summer. And then we had headed down the path to build like my studio in the back.
Right.
And credit to Rusty for saying, hey, I'm sitting here. His office was sitting right next to there, and he's like, I don't think you should do this. And I was like, I feel like I've been feeling that in my gut to build my garage in the back of a building when we're going to build a showroom design studio down in Middleton. And then I built my showroom garage at my house. So we pivoted, and that's going to become the bottling area. And then because we're going to be doing the Middleton showroom, we came to the conclusion that we should make a showroom out of my dad came up with this idea. He's like, you should make like a garage of the entryway and park your car in it. And I was like, that's a great idea. I love that. And so then we diverted resources to go and let's get the entryway done.
Yep.
Just to set the stage.
Yep.
I've been telling people what this building's going to become, but it's a freaking disaster.
Right.
And so then you came in and said, let's do this. The in-between times, in between projects that, Mike and I are working on, we have the team, Mike and his two guys, so he has a 3-person team.
That's right.
To fill those gaps because we were struggling a little bit. Like, what happens if like the grill doesn't show up or I don't have anything or I'm out of town,
Right.
and I've got these 3
we
guys.
we have a lot of half days, right?
Right,
Or,
right.
In between.
And so how do we fill those gaps? Well, we've got this giant place that would be really nice if the walls are painted and the light bulbs
Right.
are changed. It doesn't cost a lot of money. And so then we went through and have gone through this iteration 5 or 6 times. So I think we have a good plan for what the building is going to look like.
Right.
And then just tackle one room at a time. So like the room that backs up to this is the room they're working on, that
Yeah.
and the conference room. I talked to Mark, from Blue Tree,
Now what?
and he's like, "Well, what you want to make is like $27,000." I had a $2,700 budget, not
Right.
$27,000. And so I called him and said, "Mark," I was like, I just can't.
How big is that table?
It.
That's it was like a 16-foot table, 15 and a half
It's
feet?
15 by 4.
Okay.
No, 15 by 5.
5. Yeah.
Yeah.
A little wider.
So a big honking piece of wood.
Mm.
Just shipping alone, because he's like, look, if you want to get this there in one piece, it's got to come like in a truck.
Right.
And what I'm thinking is, it's $7,600. I should probably just send the van out there and pay one of my guys $1,000 for the week, to drive to Kansas City and drive back. Maybe that'd be a smarter move.
Will it even fit in that van?
Yeah, I guess.
No, I don't know. I think it's going to fit in that van.
Yeah, 15 feet. No,
It's big.
Yeah. So anyway, we're going to do the conference room and do this office. And I decided, now you got me excited, because I decided to build my own office.
That's right.
Here.
Well, yeah. When I first asked you where you want to be,
I'm like,
you were like, I don't
want
need
an
an office.
I don't need one.
And then
but I
about
want
30
one.
minutes later, the phone rings. It's like, well, yeah, this is where I want to be. So
Yeah. So I should cue you in. Matt is a friend of mine. We mountain bike together. He moved here a couple of years ago, and I showed him the org chart, and there was a gap in the org chart. You know, Matt has a lifetime of experience in marketing, and so I said, well, there's a gap here that I need to fill. Will you fill it? So the reason why I'm saying Matt's kind of helping do a lot of different things. So Matt and Rusty have kind of stepped in to help with the operations and the marketing side of the business, to help, you know, make it a highly functioning organization as we make this transition from a company to a real organization.
Yeah.
And so Matt's kind of taken over the marketing and what would you say, our projects is our marketing.
Well, media. So the project team is really tied at the hip with the media team.
Right.
And so the media team is marketing, and therefore Mike and the project team go along with that. And
traditionally, projects would be under operations, but
Right.
we're a non-traditional place, and so
right. Our projects are media and part
Right.
of our process and
Right.
part of our marketing process.
right. And so we're working on creating a production schedule and then a measurable structure where we can measure output, because we have finite resources. Until we have more resources, you have to try to maximize your current resources so that we can get more.
Right.
And the struggle I've had is, as I've made this transition, you know, the way that I had done it in the past doesn't work for the future.
Yep.
So
yeah, we've got to scale and really
So we have
change.
Cars and Culture this weekend. So it's from 10 to 12.
Mm-hmm.
Cars and Culture, so you can come and see the progress. And you know, I like to show people where we're at.
Yeah.
You know, there's cables running across the carpet. There's drywall dust. There's stuff. You know, no, there's a delicate balance between being lazy and messy, and in progress. And so
But we're making a lot of progress. We got, you know, just right over here. You guys can't see it, but the home theater room's just about done.
Mm-hmm.
Carpet's going to go in early next week, and they'll start playing with, you know, turn it into the lab and start playing with gear. And
Mm-hmm.
conference rooms getting walls worked on.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're making progress.
So I've got these conundrums. Like, do I buy a $300,000 container of built hamper, or do I spend $300,000 on
Right.
a building?
Right.
Which one of them makes money and the other one doesn't?
Right.
So I have $30,000 to fix the building because I need the $300,000 to
Yeah.
buy the products that you guys want. And so it's this conundrum.
But
that
we're
you have
doing
to
a
fight
lot of the
through.
work ourselves. So we've sort of decided to be what I call cheap but cheerful, right? Which is, you know, let's use most of what we have, make
Right.
it look a lot better. It's going to be 100 times better than what we have today.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we're investing in the rooms that are really important, like the showroom, like the home theater room, right? The conference room.
Right.
But the regular offices, we're cleaning, you know, clean the 1996 wallpaper off the
Mhm.
walls and get some paint up.
Yeah, and the tricky part is having a plan, because otherwise we're painting walls that are about to get ripped out.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
We have to decide which walls are getting ripped out. And we made some big strides in making an adjustment to where the warehouse is going to terminate.
Yeah.
Because I was wanting it to terminate on a place where we have a half wall.
Right.
And so we'd have to build a 150-foot long separate section of wall.
Well, not only that, we were going to have to tear out a block wall, a
Right.
pretty big block
Right.
wall. It goes basically the length of the building. So.
And so then instead you just, you know, just move one room over to the right.
Right.
And which is not perfect for me, but it'll be much more economical, and we can get it done in short
Right.
order.
Yeah, because we have Middleton coming, right? So we got to knock a chunk of this place out before we start to work on Middleton, because that's
Mhm.
going to take a lot of our time and effort.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we started that today.
Yeah. So we do have some questions. So Gene, let's see. Gene had a question. Are the cabinets in? I think that's a Russo question.
Yeah.
Maybe an update on that.
No, I think we'll probably start those. It depends on if we go to John's house to do his garage. So it would likely be the end of June.
Yep.
depending on where I'm at with the Lotus. And so we're going to go build. John helped us with the design of the control system for the HVAC.
Right.
And so we're gonna.
He's still helping us, right? He's still helping us with.
Correct. He has to finish it, right?
With the
so quid pro quo. What's the saying? Where I said, well, here's what we'll trade services here, and that we'll come and do your garage if you come and do our HVAC. So we leverage our talents to barter back and forth, and so that's where we're at.
All right. We have another question about the pressure washing solution. Should they wait or should they buy what we have?
I don't have an answer for that.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's not super close, but it's not super far.
Right.
So, if it were me, I wouldn't wait. I mean, the current system is, especially if you have the resources to be able to, mount it on the wall and do the piping and all that kind of stuff.
I think it's what you value too. I mean, if you like the open look, the industrial look that kind of the current layout has, then you would go with the current system. But if you want something that's behind a cabinet and a little cleaner, then you may want to wait.
Yeah, because the performance, the function is not going to be any different.
Right.
It's the look and feel and the simplicity of installation. So I would buy the pressure washer, and I would buy a CR, and I would buy the hose reel. This is what I would do, and I maybe wouldn't do like a full finish mounting, and I probably wouldn't buy like the Prevost piping and stuff, but I would buy all of those things, and then if you decide to upgrade or to change, then you could easily find somebody to buy the stuff, and you might lose 20% or something. You sell it 20% off what you paid for it. But, I mean, that's how I do things,
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, use it while you're waiting for
Correct.
it to be perfect.
And then I can repurpose, like, the hose reel, the hose, the gun, the wand holder, the pressure washer, and then, maybe I've got to fill some drywall holes that I made to put the new system in when I'm ready. But that's how I would do it. You can repurpose a good percentage of it.
So we have a technical question here. It says, "Hey guys, this is Scott. Hey guys, I'm hanging my Cox hose reel with Tapcons, but the mounting holes for the hose reel sit behind the reel assembly. What should I use to get the correct angle for a hammer drill?"
Well, what you would do is you would mark it.
Right.
So you'd mark. It's too heavy to hold up while you're hammer drilling anyway. Right. So you'd mark it with a Sharpie. Yep. Then pilot your holes, and then the reel is designed where it's open inside, so you turn the reel where the open side sits, and then with Tapcons, I like to put those in by hand anyway, because when you use the machine, you tend to blow through strip it out. So then I would use and put my Tapcon in with a ratchet, with a lower profile ratchet. Rather than trying to drive it in. You could just kind of orient the reel properly and kind of come with a long extension, but again, I think you're going to want to put those Tapcons in by hand so you don't strip it out and have a giant hole in the wall that you got to move the hose reel over.
The other option, and I don't know what they're called, but there's the stud option where you drill the hole, you put the stud in, and it compresses, and it has a thread.
Sleeve anchor you're talking about.
Yeah, you can basically just put you just put it on the threads and then tighten up the
Those are a little tougher to do with a, if it's cinder block.
Right. There's not enough to hold on to back there. Yeah. It says, "Matt, I'll be doing my first ceramic coating soon. I've never polished before, but the car is new. Can I just coat it?"
I wouldn't. If you're going to do that, I would buy Power Lock Plus and Culinite. I think you need to polish because your coating isn't going to last all that long if you don't fully decontaminate and get it really deep clean, because the coating's not going to bond very well, and it's just not going to look great. So I think you need to polish. It's funny, I was just editing the video where I was talking about, I was putting G on Mo's. This is a big deal for me. So I'm doing a car. When you coat a car, it's so much work. I don't want to go and test a bunch of random stuff that I'm not sure is going to work.
Right.
You know what I'm
saying?
saying?
You want to start over.
Yeah. It's a big project to do it again. And so it's not like it's not like testing a new tire dressing where next time I can just try a new tire dressing, right? And so I was talking about this in the video. I'm like, man, this is a big deal for me to put Moe's Evo on. And the thing I just can't fathom is that you have all these people. A lot of them don't have tons of funds, right? So they don't have like tons of detailing products. And they go and they take a flyer on some new rando coating. It's like the craziest thing to me.
Right.
Me taking a flyer is doing Moe's Evo that's like 12 years in the making, you know? But yet they're going to go buy some like Armor King or some other Instagram influenced, probably garbage. Not knowing the story, not knowing the person behind it, not knowing how it's made. I would need to know all that stuff.
Right.
And it's just such a common thing I see where like I'm not using a McGuire's coating because they're not good at it. Right. I'm not using an Adams coating because it's I think gonna be inferior to CarPro or G-Technic. Sure enough, I used Gion Moe's and it's not as good as CSL XO. But now I kind of stuck Kurt with it, but because he bought the car, but. It doesn't give you the same slickness. My wager is maybe it'll last a little longer. That's what I'm holding on to. Right. That the longevity's better because I've kind of heard a lot of people say that, but it's sort of underwhelming. And so
that car was PPF, fully PPF.
Yeah, so I just Moe's over top of that, and it was only half PPF. Only the front clip.
Sorry, the front clip.
So I was able to get to experience it on the paint as well.
Okay.
But it's just you guys using I don't know, take your pick of some random coating that is rebottled that somebody puts their name on. And when the harder decision for me, G-Technic, CarPro, Gion, who else would I put into that category? Companies that have done tons and tons of testing, that have been working on it, have many, many iterations. I mean, to me, going wild would be go to get Kamikaze, get a Kamikaze coating or something more obscure. That's what they specialize in, rather than going to Adams to get a coating. It's just, especially how much work you got to put in. And I'm an Adams fan, but
I mean, it sort of sounds like what you're saying is the guys that are specialty coatings makers that really sold through the detailing channel to the what I would call true detailers.
That have been vetted, tested, tried and true, a lot more cycles, if you want to call it that, or a lot more cases and case studies versus somebody who rebottled something. And it's, and I understand the pursuit of the young man looking for the unicorn.
Right.
Buying the giraffe pressure washer because they think that, oh my gosh, this could be it. And I understand that, but I find that it's always the people that don't have the means to do that are doing that. Just freaking listen to me. First of all, I know my gut, and this is hard for me to explain, and I take a lot of flack for this. Like most of the time, I don't even need to try something. I just know. That comes from life experience and knowing the background of a lot of this crap. But it's just crazy to me that you would buy some rando coating after doing all this work and put it on your car. Mm-hmm. Especially if you have one car. Right. I got 10 cars and I'm not doing that. I can't bring myself to use another coating because I know that this is functionally excellent. Yeah. And so it was a big deal for me to put Gion Moe's Evo on there, and then I'm talking to the camera saying, how could you put, I don't know, some random coating? John, the detailer's, coating that he's been testing, Even like ammo, I'm not going to use a random ammo coating on my car. I just don't buy that it's going to be better than Seacourts UK. That's 20 years in the making.
I always worry too about how you get something off.
It's easier
we
now,
do a lot
but
of dry ice stuff, and there's guys doing new types of industrial coatings on the bottom of cars and that sort of thing. And what's that going to look like in 10 years?
Right.
And that's a different situation because to get it off the bottom of a car is super complicated versus a painted panel.
Yeah, you've got 20 different materials.
It's the same challenge, right? What's it going to look like, and how do you get it off? And
yeah, I mean, it's a little less risk in the coating, and the thing to do would be to try different, some different, choose a panel and do Seacourts UK, and then do another panel and do Moe's Evo, and then sort of take your pick which one you like the most. again, doing like CSU, EXO, or CSL. I understand the appeal of Moe's Evo because it's a single coat, like you only one step, not multiple products. But then it threw me for a loop because it says, well, you can do two coats. I'm like, oh, god dang, that defeats the purpose to me.
If you're doing 2 coats,
and it was tackier, not as slick. Yeah. Didn't make the car look as good. So I'm like, oh, shoot. I went through this whole process of 30 hours of pain, and I put something on that I don't like as much. And then which car do you not like as much? It's like I always say, it's like, well, you know, people want me to do different colors and random things in my garage. I'm like, but there's a first best for me. I don't want to put second best. And I did that, and I'm about to rip it out. Slat wall and Pro Slat, which I like, but I don't love. And so now I've got to pay the price and rip it out and do it again. And so, but this is a struggle. One could make an argument, well, how are you ever going to find the best product if you're not willing to take that? And that's what I was doing, rolling the dice. I found something great, which was like the 7th or 8th coating I made it to, that everybody said I would like, and I was very reluctant to go to G-Technic. And then when I finally bit the bullet and said, well, I'm going to go second best on this car because I was using Seacourts UK, Seacourts TiO2. I liked them. I didn't love them, but I liked them. And I think it's because I didn't love it, I was willing to go and quote unquote ruin a car, you know, ruin my beloved car.
Well, speaking of polishing other people's cars, so you were in the garage this weekend.
Somehow Adamo is the only person that ever convinces me to polish, you know, somebody else's car. And I think this is probably like the 5th car of his that I've done.
And that was like a marathon day, right? Like 10 hours, 12 hours?
Yeah, so we got there at 7:30, and I finished at, I think, 5 o'clock. We finished. It was 10 and a half hours, whatever that is. Maybe it was 4 o'clock when we finished. It's a 240 Spec R, you know, right-hand drive. You know, it's like the Unicorn 240. Right. I think that I don't know much about 240s.
But he was calling it like old man spec or something. Like what was his?
Well, because it doesn't have angle kit, it doesn't have like, you know, a real aggressive suspension, you know, in comparison to what he normally does. Right. It's not as loud. The interior is actually like in one piece. It's not like melting and falling apart. And so, you know, he's, you know, it's an old man version of a 240, because 240s, you know, they're held together by zip ties and, you know, and duct tape. Right. This one was, you know, pretty well put together, but the paint was questionable. There's a couple of different painted panels on it, and then there's just so much gunk on the paint. It's funny, I was reading through his comments, and some of these guys, first of all, 90% have come around to me. You know, it just depends on the week on how much they don't like me. But Adam and I have a great banter. It's like me and Anthony from the Rag Company. Yeah. There's just certain people. The reason why Adam and I are such good friends is because there's just something about certain people just mesh, just work well together. And I think we work well on camera. And you know, he gets me going, and I start losing my wallet, my keys when he's around. You know, that chaos of him. Because he's so unique in that he's like a very particular engineer. Like he was an engineer, kind of like a chemical engineering major, computer engineering major, and then he transitioned into business when he realized that, well, I want to be a businessman. But he kind of messes me up, gets me off my game, and he takes great pride in that. And so, but I'm polishing his car, and like all these kids are like, you should have gotten somebody who knows what they're doing. I'm like, do you not know who I am? Like, so I get, how do you get not arrogant about that? But like, I know what I'm doing here, people. Like, I'm pretty good at this. I'm actually really good at this. He said, you should have gotten so-and-so, or you should have done this or that. Or you should have gotten somebody who knows what they're doing. I said, you got me confused with somebody else. So, and then I start to take offense to that. I'm like, you freaking dorks.
You're not supposed to read the comments, you know.
I was just thumbing through them just to see, you know, because I don't do comments very much anymore. And but I'm like, he's freaking, are you kidding me? Are you that stupid? And then there's the goofy, I'm sure it's Leo or whatever, who creates, you know, new usually really clever profiles, but he you know, he's commenting, well, you know, you need to learn the real OCD story. I'm like, these guys are so dumb. Like, I wish I could make up like a story that was believable and interesting that was not the real story.
Right.
And they're so dumb that they don't realize that the story is the story. There's no extra story here. There's only one story. But they think that there's some other like secret personality behind it, you know, or there's extra to it. I'm like, no, I'm not that talented. You're giving me too much credit here. That there is no like secret OCD extra story. I've told the story exactly what it is and what my problem is, and yet they, you know, kind of stick it to you. It's kind of fun. And then that same dude is over in the Chemex guy. You know, his videos up.
Right.
And same comments. I just find it so fascinating when you cross audiences.
Right.
And when it works, you know, because it works for most people, but when it doesn't work, and then people just start making up stuff like, you should have gotten a real detailer. I said, you probably should take a look at my cars. Like, I know real detailers, and you know they're not doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
In almost every case, they can't. You can't go to that level.
It's the amount of time.
Right.
I mean, if you're running a business, you only have so much time to invest, unless
I spent an hour
just going to pay you through.
I spent an hour and a half just cleaning and prepping the plastic to coat in the engine area of the Amira that is a car that isn't even mine.
Right.
That I'm not getting paid for.
Right.
But that's what needs to be done. And when you're a professional detailer, you can't do that.
Right.
Like, you just can't unless you charge for it, but no one's going to want to pay that. You know, so I'm going to pay another $300 just to do that. And so they're not, in almost all cases, doing that. And if they are, they're going to be out of business pretty quickly.
So how was Shipton? You brought it up. Bob from Chemex came by, right?
Yeah, it was fun.
He's a neat guy.
It's always interesting. This is why when you get together with somebody else that does what you do, we're in such a unique space in history to be able to like put your life out there.
Right.
And then what the problem is, you become very public, but then it puts you on an island.
Right.
So it's very counterintuitive that there's very few people that can relate. And I'm not saying it's for me, it's not a bad relate,
Right.
but there's very few people that can relate to this life. You know, it's a much harder life, even though the perception is it's very easy. It's much easier, but it's a much harder life to live this, whatever this public version of a passion-driven life, than it would be to just go do a really good job on a job. You know, I'd be an executive somewhere, or I'd be a financial professional or something like that.
Well, it stops when you go out the door. I mean, that's a huge difference.
Right. And then your success is generally measured by how often you take it home with you, right? In America,
yeah,
anyway,
be,
right?
Yeah.
So the more you take it home with you is the better chance you have a success. Whereas this life is, you know, there's no take it home. It's just there at all times. And so that's what most of our time on, you know, Bob and I spending together is just to kind of, and I'm a few years out front of him. You know, if he's lucky enough to continue to progress, but to just the unique experience of what that's like being public and then being a business owner kind of puts you in a small category subset of people. Same thing with Adam. So off camera, I almost wish we could kind of keep the camera on, because the most interesting thing would be that in between conversation about things that, you know, you generally wouldn't talk about. I usually talk about right here on mic, but you generally wouldn't talk about it in public.
Some guys are a little more reserved.
Right. Yeah. But part of the benefit of me, this is what's so funny, sharing everything.
Right.
Sharing the fact that, you know, I don't know, I bought this giant building that I can barely afford, you know, and sharing that with people is what creates, I think, the authentic bond. It creates a relationship rather than a transaction.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that don't believe it just can't believe that anyone would operate under that and not in just a transactional
Or
realm.
they're just troublemakers.
Of course.
I mean, there's that too, right? Like, I mean, a lot of those guys are just there to stir the pot.
Yeah. And in person, they would wilt. You know, they would melt.
No.
Right.
They don't have the what to do that.
Right.
Let's see here. We've got, says, finance part 2 is missing from inside the hex on the site, so we'll go check that. Thank you, Jordan. Let me see here. 0 GT4 RS content.
Yeah. The GT4 RS has to sit in its spot because I committed, and when I commit, I get stuff done. I committed to the Amiras. The GT4 RS
I
showed
will
up.
say I've known Matt more personally since I came to Florida for the last couple of years. You have a unique ability to let a car sit and not touch it. Like I couldn't do that. I'd be driving it. I'd be in it. I don't know how you do that.
I think it's too much, you know. But you live a too much life too, so yeah. I don't know.
But I spread it. I think I'd spread it around a little more. But
yeah,
I don't have the commitment you have either.
Right. I like to finish the job, you know, finish the project. That's what is so frustrating in this transition from company to organization, right, is it can't operate the way that I'm used to operating.
Right.
You got to chip away at things and have a production and accountability structure.
Yeah.
I only know one way: shut everything off in life and do this thing.
Right. And do it till it's done.
And, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's hard to do when you're trying to move a barge now.
Well, the problem is we're trying to do 10 things. And you can't do that when you're trying to do 10 things. We have to break it up and divide and conquer, right?
Yeah.
Let's say it says, Mike says, how can I buy spider shelving with the front doors? There's nothing online, and how much are they?
I have no idea how much they are. I bought mine, but I don't know how much I paid for it. So it's considerably less than like the typical, Russo. You'd have to design at obsessgarage.com and email. We have to custom order, custom make it. I would guess it's probably like $800. You know, if you just did like a 5-shelf.
I think a clarification for everybody, because I know as an OG follower and purchaser before I got through the door, our design team, you know, we charge for designs and we'll apply that back to your project if you buy through us. But if you need help with like Swiss tracks or setting up a cabinet array or something simple, we can also help with that, and we really don't charge for that, right? So
yeah, it's just that question is a very complex
it's
discussion.
not something we can put on a web page,
and we can't have a girl or a guy answer the phone as a receptionist. So you just need to shoot an email to design, so that way you get the Brooke or you get the Chris.
You can shoot an email. There's also a design page where you can click the link. You put your email in, and Brooke will give you a call and set you up with one of the guys to go through it.
But I also understand, like, it would be nice to like give me a frame of reference here on the site, and so that's something that we're going to continue to build the robustness of Russo. Before we came along, good luck trying to find anything on Russo. We're like 20% of the way where we're gonna be 10 years from now but that is a common question that it'd be great if you just had an example on the website with the doors, and it's that way it's $8,800. You can say I'm out, or if it's $800, no, I might be interested.
Right.
So, but in the interim, shoot a message of design. They'll get back to you in a day or so, and then start to get some ask you what you want, and they'll start to figure out some pricing for you.
Yeah, we've got some new folks over there, and that are up to speed, and we can handle a lot more. So it should be a good experience. Let's see. Brian asks, "Good to see you back on live Q&A. Why'd you stop the live? Was there a reason?"
Yeah, I mean, when you watch all the major podcasts, first of all, I was finding it difficult to get here.
Yeah.
Right? And so when Chris, moved on, I'm like, well, let me try something different.
Right.
And so Theo Vaughn or, the Rogan podcast, or just really pretty much any podcast, they don't do it live.
Right.
I don't like the look of the live. The quality's a little milky looking.
Yeah, the sound quality would probably be better if we weren't trying to
do
this.
Yeah, you fumble. Even though you have the same setup, we fumble through it a little bit every so often. And then the ability to be able to have like 4K, high quality footage.
Yep.
But then I started to get feedback from people saying, "Look, I don't really like what you're doing on the new version." Like, okay, I don't really like doing it either. Perfect. So let's go back to live. And so I just committed to doing live whenever I can. I do it as often as I can. And like Michael Stevens is out today, so I just pull somebody in, hey, who can come have a chat with me. And the real recognition was like the press all thing. we're trying to figure out the press all thing. And I'm like, well, I would like to get this news out. And it just didn't have a spot in the queue of videos that I'm making to where it made sense. So this is the best way.
And we put a lot of content out too. So sometimes it's hard to know where to go look if you're trying to find something. But folks know to come to the live podcast to get what's going on.
And so are we, you know this better than I do, we are still putting this up on we export it and put it up on.
John, have we been able to get on Apple Podcasts?
Yeah, that's what we're working on.
We're working on Apple Podcasts. Bear with us. So
we upload it to Libsyn and then get it on, Spotify and all the different platforms.
Right. We're working on that.
Okay.
Yep. We've got new folks, so we're broadening out our capability, and so that's that's been part of the training process and getting more people doing more stuff, which is what we need to do.
Yep.
Let's see here. Philippe asks, "Hey Matt, have you tried new CarPro window tint?"
No, that's another thing. So now, is CarPro going to beat Lumar?
Yeah. That one's hard. All the different films is challenging, right?
Yeah. To me,
you can look at it and you can read the marketing pamphlet or whatever, the story they have, but until you see it on the paint or on the window, it's really hard to judge it, right?
It comes down to the installer for that stuff more. True. So I haven't. But my inclination is to say, if they apply the same principles they do the other CarPro products, maybe they got a shot someday. Right. But I'll let somebody else be the guinea pig for it,
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is if you're a chemical company, what gives you the capability to go develop a film? Right?
I guess, but one could argue, what business do you have selling closets, Matt? And I'd say, I'm sure they'd say the same thing. Well, I think I can do it better.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue that organization and how to put together things in a really nice way to deliver a great experience.
It's on them. It would be on CarPro. My friends at CarPro would be on them to get that information to me on why.
Right.
Not just to put it out and say it's better. And this is the struggle. They don't have a platform like I do, so I can go on an hour-long diatribe washing my car talking about why I'm the guy to tell you what light bulbs to pick for your kitchen.
It is as a marketing guy, you talk about business adjacencies, right? And so if you're wanting to expand your business, there's different ways to do that, and adjacent businesses are one of those steps, but usually you try to grab an adjacency that's truly touches you or truly adjacent. So they're kind of taking a jump, I would say.
And that's very confusing. And just this past week, we'd spent a lot of time in meeting talking about, well, I thought this was adjacent, and it's actually something completely different that happens to share some commonality. So it's very confusing to figure out what is actually living one existence I talk about all the time. How can I live one existence, make one video that can then touch adjacent businesses? How can I'm already jerking around with home theater with or without the camera, so why don't I just turn the camera on? Right. That is very adjacent because I was going to do that anyway.
Well, plus you have a lot of home theater experience, right?
Correct.
In your early days, you were selling that.
I've got some value to provide there, I think.
So we got a super chat from Alex. Thank you, Alex. Will you make a non-high flow DI? Happy with Comet, but want a DI. Should I get the CR or wait for OG solution? Will Hex Plus renewal qualify for giveaway?
So for me, DI is not the thing. Right. DI is just something that has to go in the cabinet. So if I'm just looking for simple DI, why would you not just do the thing that's great? The CR Spotless is awesome, unless you needed some sort of super high flow version. If you don't need high flow, which you don't, I have nothing to add. Right. And so I would say you just buy the the CR DIW20 or DIC the cart version 20, and that's perfect. Buy it from me because I make a bunch of money when I sell it to you, or at least some money. But it's when you get into the 4 gallon per minute Krenzel that I'm developing, or doing duals, or you just want the all-in-one solution. I had to that's when you have to do something different. So, to answer your question, non-high flow already exists. It's great.
Right.
Do it.
Yep. And then Hex Plus, is the renewal part of qualifying for the giveaway? Do you know?
I hope so. We always have. So let's say yes. And
Okay.
let's make that
We'll
happen.
make it happen.
Yes. Yes.
All right. Let's see.
Renewal and new members. But you have to renew it. Like, it has to just happen to fall into that renewal.
Right.
Period.
Frank asks, thinking about becoming a Hex member to get access to your financial advice series, would this apply to someone in their mid-20s?
Oh, for sure. That's why I sort of targeted it to. It's not great, so don't get too excited. It's just, I'm sure it's my perspective, and I spent half of my life obsessing over this. So there's probably some things I'm going to teach you, like how do you look up the millage rate and what is millage rate, when you're buying a property, things that you take for granted as a seasoned person. But just teaching what a mutual fund is.
These are things that you learn as you go through time and have experiences, like I'm buying a house, or I get my first property tax bill, or all these different.
But worst case, I've done 3 episodes, like a couple of hours each, and you pay $8 and you find that it's worthless. I would suspect it's probably not going to be. But don't expect. It's like me just sitting in front of a camera talking. It's not like some Dave Ramsey course or something here. It's just a pretty simple me sharing my thoughts live off the top of my head, having to kind of go dig into the deep nether regions of my brain to go remember some of the stuff I've forgotten. While my CFP diploma's hanging out on the wall behind me, I should probably. Oh, they did revoke it. It's the diploma. It's not worth anything anymore because they did revoke it. But yeah, there's a lot. I think there's a lot of interesting things inside the Hex. The mentorship podcast too, I think you might find useful. The mentorship podcast is probably a little bit more useful for somebody in their 40s. Maybe a little older,
further along in their career, maybe.
Yeah.
Jim's asking for us to update Press-All, yellow wing bottles.
So they're Germans. They are like exhausting every possibility, and we Americans.
Yeah, we want answers.
What's going on? We're freaking out here. So I don't have any answers, but I can promise you that they are diligently testing at the speed that Germans test. So I don't have an answer for you yet. We have a tester set of bottles out there, and you said the other day, it's not really that big. It's not that bad.
I think it's
unacceptable for world's best bottle.
That's right.
That's the claim that I made.
That's right.
And it's unacceptable for that.
Yep.
I don't know what the fix is. Until I know what the fix is, I don't have a solution.
Being a guy that was in complicated manufacturing for a long time, something happened in the process, right? When we tested samples, they tested samples, everything was great. It went to production. They made a container or product. Something happened in the transfer to production. So we've got to get to the bottom of what that is, what changed, and get it back to where our samples were.
Right.
That's the reality of it.
Yeah, because a lot of people are like, you idiots not test it?
Yeah, of course we do. We're adding another step now, which is when we get a container in, we're going to grab bottles and stick the worst offending thing in it and, test them before we even send them out. But that's, unfortunately we have to do that, right?
I can't afford to, in order to do this, I had to buy 25,000 bottles, and to take the roll the dice,
right?
And so, again, once we know the problem, then we can identify the solution to the problem, and then we can keep you guys in the loop. So I appreciate the patience. I'm sure some people aren't patient. There's no, as far as we can tell, there's no functional disadvantage, right? In fact, they're functioning fantastically well. There may be a product like Tarex or Ulex that doesn't work with the silicone tube, and I love what I think his name's Kip Peeler said for Tarex. He just took the old straw, and put it on the new head,
the hard straw.
Yeah, and then that could be a solution where we have like a bespoke version of the bottle for certain caustic chemicals, and yeah, this is part of the game, and I know it's not acceptable to some, but I don't know what else to tell you. I'm working on it.
Okay, Graydon's asking, hey, Matt, just wondering if you saw the new Ryobi 1200, 1.8 gallons per minute. I got it, and it's nothing compared to my K1322, but not bad for a beginner.
Yeah, I'm sure it's probably fine.
Yeah.
I haven't really found the
You
need
kind of been
to,
down that road. Like, I mean, how many you tested? 30, 40, 50 pressure washers?
100 plus.
100? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool to see Ryobi coming out with something that that is geared toward this. I guess I can take. I'm sure no one would give me credit, but I'm the reason for it.
Okay, Aaron,
I don't know. I don't know what to do with it.
Aaron's asking, when will the swiveling pressure washer hose reel mount be available? Is that going to be separately available from
Yes.
the system?
So what we're working on, so Joe Pichette and I just talked yesterday, we've got to build product roadmaps.
Yeah.
So that way we can have very specific time frames of when things are launched. And so, again, that falls victim to my transition from a company to an organization. Do it. Do what? Do it all. When? Right now. And then it's like hitting running straight into a brick wall.
That's right.
And so that doesn't work anymore. That used to work when when you have 8 people and we're all just do it right. Let's do it right now.
Yeah, when everybody's in the same room and you just yell across the room, it's easier to get that kind of stuff done.
Yeah, it's unexplainable. Even today I still don't believe it. I don't believe. Why can't I just do it? Do it all right now. Now I've got like 50 people. Let's just do it all right now.
Right.
And everybody gives me that look.
Yeah.
And because that's the way I operate. But unless I had 50 people that all operated the exact way I operate, that's not going to work.
Well, the problem is we just don't get the things done that we're working on. So
that's the problem, right?
The issue is we're working to get one thing out. We throw another one on top of it. We stop working on number 1. We go to number 2, and then number 3 comes along, and now we have 1 and 2 that still aren't done.
Right, because
it's the unfinished work that's the problem, and I call it a snowplow, right? You think about a snowplow pushing snow. As you keep pushing, the mound gets higher and higher. So at some point, we got to digest it, right?
Yeah, when it's just me, my GT4 RS sits in the corner.
Yeah.
But when you've got an organization, a living, breathing, group of people, that it's really hard because we do a lot of fun stuff. And so, you even said before, like, you can't relate. How could you let that thing sit there? I can, and I do.
Right.
We're going to do that as a company, but we need a process for that. I just take it for granted. I don't have a process for it. I just do. But when you're talking about moving 50 people,
but you have a priority list in your head,
right?
The issue that we have here is that the priority list is sometimes in your head, and it's not the business's priority list, so they're misaligned.
I want my business to be my head. That's what we're working on.
Right. So let's see. Ben's asking, any interest in a car like the MAT Stratos?
I don't even know what that is.
I don't either. I mean, maybe that's that. Did someone do like a Resto Mod Lancia Stratos? Is that maybe what he's asking about?
I don't know.
I know a lot of car stuff, but I don't know that one. So maybe Brian, give us a little more info.
He's just trying to stump me.
Yeah.
Saying I know more than you, you dumbo. You're talking all that trash about being a good detailer.
So Neil's asking about the Helen house.
So Helen, we think we have maybe 5 weeks available.
Right.
So $5,000 all in. Go to the banner image or go to the Helen section of the site. Manny has a clickable link of the weeks that are available. It's going to be your last chance to book it, experience it. I'm going to send out an email to the special price to Inside the Hex and previous people who stayed there. And then I'm going to send out an email with a different price to the whole Obsessed Garage, a higher price.
Right.
And then I'm going to list it in November to sell.
Yep.
And then I'm going to do, hopefully I can sell it to somebody who will love it as much as I do. But it just doesn't fit. And it's done. It's complete. This is how I do things. I complete a car.
Move on.
Move on. It's done. It's complete. I was hanging on to it. I was collecting it.
Right.
And I realized that. I'm like, Joe Greger said, what are you doing here? Are you collecting this? You're not a good collector. You don't collect anything. So I was, because the house is done, and I've got to go out and continue to water the plants and continue to water and water it and water it. And that's just not what I'm built to do. I'm built to go plant a new plant, let the old one die. Or sell the plant.
Sell the plant.
I'm going to take the plant, put it in a pot, and sell it to somebody who needs it. Who needed the, like, I don't know that there are many people in the world who could have taken that house and made it what it is now.
Right.
Right? With the combined obsession of all the stuff to put into one spot and then to have a mic to go and actually build it. Right? To put it together.
Yeah.
And so Mike and I built this darn thing, and then half the darn OG staff as well.
You have the garage equivalent of a green thumb.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Grow the garage,
and
then move on.
Send it on to a happy family. It's like I'm breeding dogs here, you know. You breed a you have
a litter and then you move
purebred,
them on.
Right? You want to keep them all,
right?
But then
they're all cute.
You'd have 100 dogs, peeing all over the place. That's kind of what I have, and the version of peeing is every time I get the electric and it's sent to text, I need to turn that off. Because it's like $1,100 or $1,200, $975 for electric bill every month.
Oh, yeah.
And it just makes me crap a brick every time.
It's a big house.
Yeah.
Let's see. Sonny's asking, how do you distinguish between traceless and invisible glass in the press-alls?
I just wrote on the side a marker, and we need to come up with a little sticker or something.
Right.
So I just wrote invisible glass or traceless. You could always sniff it every time, open up and sniff it, but that's not a good option.
Let's see. Rephrase asks, how many of the new scent packs is Matt putting in his cars? 1, 2, or 3?
Just one. You only need one. It's perfect. The scent packs might be the best thing we've ever created. Like, it might be better than the Merca polisher.
What?
It's that good.
It's that good.
It's that freaking good.
Wow. I'm gonna have to try one of those.
Watch. Now it's gonna start melting people's carpets or something bad. Now that I said, it's that good, it's gonna catch on fire and explode people's cars. Something bad's gonna happen now that I made that claim.
So Raymond's asking, are there any plans to make a mount for the vacuum hose reel like the pressure washer reel?
Yes.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of reels we'd like to make, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a good
I'd like to make my own darn reel. My freaking indestructible hose on my vacuum cleaner split. Mother. At my house.
Right. So John's telling us we've got
another
opportunity.
God dang it. It's just freaking unbelievable.
Blue says hi. Hey, Blue. Let's see here. Okay. Ben's back. Matt Stratos is Ferrari 430 with a new body, more power, less weight. The Lancia Stratos reimagined.
Oh, right? So it's like $8 million.
Yeah, it's a one-off. Yeah. It's Italian, too. I don't really do Italian, do you?
No.
No.
If
you, for you old guys out there, go check out, or even the young guys, No Man's Land with Charlie Sheen. The best scene is they're walking down Rodeo Drive, and the kid says, we should steal this Ferrari 308 or whatever was there. And Charlie says, no, that's Italian trash. So, yeah, that's my... Anytime a Ferrari comes up, that's my response. Let's see. Is there any special care to be taken using touchless on a car with a convertible cloth top?
Say that again?
Special care to be taken when using touchless on a car with a convertible cloth top.
I don't know. I suspect not.
Should we say maybe try a small section just to make sure?
Yeah, and I've been talking about this a lot lately because people freaking blaming me for their own stupidity. I'm surprised it took this long for people to start blaming me for their own stupidity. You can't just use any product at all times on all things, especially when you have something obscure that nobody else has. Yeah. And then you just go full bore, full dilution, let it rip, and let it sit for 8 minutes, and then you get a streak, and then you blame me. Well, how's that my fault? So I would test it out. Or not, and roll the dice.
Right.
What did I do the other day that I didn't test out? Oh, the windshield film on the Amira.
Right.
I'm like, well, let's just send it. Let's put wolves on it. And I freaking ruined $1,000 piece of window film.
Oh, no.
It nuked it, and I had to rip it off.
Yikes.
Yeah. It's probably $250 piece of window. So I had to rip the exterior windshield protection off because I should have done a very small little corner piece.
Yeah.
I just freaking did the whole thing. I'm like, well, let's see if it works. I'm going to rip it off. $1,000.
Unlucky.
And then imagine that I emailed UltraFit and said, hey, UltraFit, I put the product on there and it didn't work, so you owe me. That's the frickin' stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. I just can't relate to that.
We're up to 2 Maddie rants today. That's pretty good.
It's like the most ridiculous thing ever.
All
Get better at life.
So
stop blaming me for your own frickin' stupidity.
Let's get back to a happy place. Dylan's asking, how similar is the scent pack smell to the Griot's leather scent?
Well, we have leather and pine, which I think is better than the Griot scent. So we don't have a leather specific, I don't think. So it's not similar. It's different.
So they're different.
We have 3 different flavors, and I don't remember what the other 2 were that I picked. There's Dialed In, E92. We named them like after cars.
Right.
And the leather and pine. I mean, you can't go wrong with leather and pine unless you don't like leather or pine. But the scent pack goes under your seat. It's a little strong for a couple of days, and it kind of settles in.
And it mellows out?
Settles in.
Yeah.
And then every time you open the car, it just gives you a nice little waft of delicious. It's amazing. And I got one in the darn Evo. It's been in there for almost a year. You go in there and open the door of the Evo, and you get it. It's perfect.
Maybe we need to put them in the cabinets out there.
Yeah.
So that the front room smells nice,
Mm-hmm.
like the car. Let's see. Morgan's asking, is it true Cree CRT home LEDs are no longer made?
Mm-hmm.
What am I going to put in my future house?
I don't know. You better buy them now. I'm working on it.
Yeah.
I got some GE light that I'm testing out, but it's color selectable, which means it sucks. I don't know yet. I got to start making some calls. It's so dumb.
Let's see here. Baloo says, I've been spraying touchless all over my Miata soft top with no issue.
Okay. I would think you're going to be good.
Blue, I don't know if that's, the old Miatas were plastic or vinyl top, not cloth. So
yeah, and also start with, Pete, I'm the only idiot using 2% dilution ratio, or PIR. Pete recommends a half, 0.5.
Right.
I just don't trust it. I want it to be really work.
You want it to work.
Yeah.
Yep. Ben is saying, update us on the shed. Did you talk about the shed out
light
front?
that shed on fire. That shed cost me $100,000. I told Mike, just get me a shed.
Just go
one of the, there's a 500 of them on
Tough
27.
Sheds or something like that.
Right. They drop it off. He's like, oh, I can build a shed for way less than that, way better. And so, took 3 months to build the darn thing, and then the shed's stuck there. I'm like, well, I'm stuck with the shed. Now we got to move the shed, and then that cost me $3,000 to move the shed. And then we got the shed here, and then the building inspector finds the shed, and then we had to pull all kinds of permits. And if I could light that shed on fire, it'd be a great day.
All right. Let's see here. ETA on the new compressor?
Last I heard, it was in transit from Italy, and so I should have
it's
a working...
It's on the slow boat.
Yes.
From Italy.
So I should have a working, version of it in the not-too-distant future here, within a month or so. And then from there, we would, go into production if it's good. So don't count your chickens on this thing. But Werther's pretty good. They've been doing this for a long time, so they probably nailed it on the first shot. But we'll see.
Yeah.
So we're talking, $1,000 up to $2,200, depending on which variant you want of it. 30-gallon tank. We'll have a portable and a non-portable version. I think most people are going to want the vertical version. You kind of tuck in the corner. And it, I'm looking for a target delivery of 13, 14 CFM, so I could run a Rupes polisher. But that one's going to be closer to the $2,000 range. But if you're looking to fill up tires and blow out pads and do little minor things in the garage, like a 5.6 CFM version, a 30-gallon tank, that's the target is $1,500 or less.
Do you know what's the decibels on that? Do you know?
It's going to be pretty low, something like 65 or
That's
so.
not bad.
Yeah.
That's not terrible.
It's going to be a oilless, quiet piston compressor. So it'll be kind of like a same technology as what the California Air Tools does,
right?
But much better quality,
right? So we sold 4 of the MSS cabinet arrays.
Ooh.
The closeout configurations.
So in October of this year, the plan would be to launch the new MSS line. And so we're working very closely with Sonic. They're taking our input and feedback on what to make and how to make it and what pricing it should be. And now we're going to be limited on production cost of it, but where it fits in the market. We're going to start with, 5 different cabinets, 6 different cabinets, something like that. So start with a small array of cabinets, go narrow and deep. It's going to have the same black finish as the MSS Plus stuff behind us, but then it will have like gray drawers, but the drawer is redesigned.
Yeah.
There's a much better, more sleek-looking handle. And then they'll have, get rid of the pegboard, and we're going to do flat board and stuff like that. It's going to look really awesome. But in the interim, we had agreed to buy all of the remaining stock of MSS.
Yeah.
We have, 11 arrays, you said?
We had 11. We're now down to, I guess, 7 of them.
So what, it's 35% off?
35% off. You do have to pay shipping, but you would be paying shipping whether it was discounted or not. And the choice was 5% off or 10% off and free shipping, but we felt like we'll show you the 35%, and if you're, the shipping will be what it's going to be.
Yeah, because some people that are closer
to
Auburn,
it's a better deal, right?
Yeah. So that's the gray drawers, the stuff you've seen in OGHQ and Yarn Building and previous forever. I still love the look of that. In the right garage, I think it looks
well.
great.
The other thing too is it fits the tools really well.
Yes,
because you can use the smaller trays of tools. The bigger trays get a lot more overlap, I think. Right, and the smaller trays, you can really sort of dial in what you want.
A couple of major benefits to MSS. It's fully modular, and it's fully self-contained, so via the wire pipes, it doesn't have to be mounted to the wall. Right. So it's easy to build. Like a Russo array will take you a day and a half to put together with a mic. 3 days if you're a normal dude, and maybe 4 or 5 days, whereas the MSS will take you 4 hours, 5 hours to put together. And then it's 19.7 inches deep. So if you can get it all the way flush up against the wall, if you have a narrower garage, a 20-foot garage, it's the best cabinet for that setup because it's shallower. But then it still fits the medium and small foam inlays if you're going to go down the Sonic tool path, which I would highly recommend. You would have a really awesome looking setup. I mean, you have MSS Plus and foam inlays, right?
Oh yeah, I love the foam. Yeah, I'm not a tool grid guy. I like the foam.
Yep.
They're
even though the tools are inferior.
Oh, I don't think they're that inferior, honestly. I mean, I grew up. My dad owned a garage. I grew up around Matco and Snap-on and all that, and I don't have any problem with Sonic tools. In fact, I thought when they first came out and I first looked at them, the matte finish versus like a polished Snap-on wrench, you think, oh, I want that polished wrench. No, you don't. You actually want the matte finish is so much nicer. They stay cleaner. They're easier to hold. Yeah, I'm sold on Sonic for sure. Yeah. So definitely with MSS, that is the downside of MSS Plus is a lot of it overlaps and you can't get exactly what you want because you want the big foam to fill the drawer.
Right.
But then you have, doubles of stuff. Whereas I think with the small ones, you don't have to get into that.
Correct. With MSS, you can get a more complete set with less redundancy. Now we're going to solve this problem as our relationship deepens with Sonic. We're going to. My whole goal is to have a home tool kit and then have a essentials kit and then have like a master collection that doesn't have any redundancy that fits it perfectly and is as efficient as possible. Yesterday I was I kind of go back and forth because I reset up. I went on a frickin' tirade here when I got here, and there's 3 screwdrivers missing from my foam inlays when I got here. But I have the foam inlays here and in Helen, and then I did the full-on Matty, money no object, worldwide, domination of tools plan. I like having both, because then it gives people the option.
Right.
But I'm sort of torn. I kind of want to just put the Sonic foam inlays at my house. I was working on the Bronco yesterday. I almost killed myself, by the way. I didn't realize this, but the Broncos, it's settled more in the front because of the weight of the engine than in the rear.
Yeah.
Well, the front has like these 700 whatever kilograms per millimeter, like super stout springs, and there's a collar.
Yeah.
and it would have this big giant spanner, big thick like hardened steel spanner wrench we had to get, and so I'm trying to turn the coilover down so I could raise up the front, and there's a set screw, a set Allen key.
Yeah.
And so I called George from APG just to kind of check. He's like, "I'll call you in 5 minutes." I'm like, "I'm not waiting 5 minutes." And so I took the screw all the way out, and he said, "Well, before you do anything, only make it turn it like 2 threads, because that collar could explode."
Right. It comes off the threads, right?
Because there's a split in the collar, right? A relief split.
Right.
And so he's like, "I can't believe that didn't explode in your face." I was like, "So I almost killed myself." I said, "Oh yeah," and then I was like, "Can I be honest?" I said, "The screw was like sitting on the tire next to me. I took it all the way out." He's like, "Oh my gosh!" I said, "Yeah, I already put it back in as soon as you said."
That would have been fun.
Yeah, then I would have been really screwed. And so I had to buy some like heavy duty spring compressor, because I can only get like 1 inch. I need to compress the spring a little bit so I can turn it down.
Yeah, get it loose.
I mean, I'm doing like 2-hand, full, give it all I got, to try to get the thing to turn. But I don't want to lower the rear. I could just lower the rear, but I like the size and scale of it. So I need to turn it. I need like 5 or 6 turns out of it to get the height I need. Then I go get it aligned. But yeah, using my fancy tools kind of makes me happy.
Yeah, that's good. Let's see here. Manny's chiming in. Apologies on behalf of the European people. Apparently they were not ready for you. We'll do better next time. Ribeye on me. Do you know what that means?
No. Oh, he's talking about my trip to Finland, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see here. Scent bags go live for the giveaway on Sunday. That's a yes, right?
Yes. Yeah. So we've got cutting. I'll make a video of all the different options. We've got some freaking cool stuff, man. Really cool stuff.
Invasion HD asks, "Hey Matt, is there a spreadsheet or spec sheet of the size of your garage and heights of everything like outlets and door?"
No. Design at obsessedgarage.com.
Right.
What you need.
Yep. And then when is Matt buying a 911R?
Yeah.
Only what, 500, 600 grand for one of those? Or are they more now?
Yeah, 600 or so. Yeah. I'm not.
Yeah. I think the 991.2 Touring is
right. It's
the same
basically
car.
the same car. I mean, it doesn't have the GT3 engine, or GT3 RS engine, but
it's hard to justify, unfortunately. And then Morgan's asking about patio kitchen videos coming soon. Yeah, I think we just about wrapped up on the outdoor kitchen, right?
The Wolf Grill is way better than I thought.
Right.
It's incredible. I got the 54-inch one. It's so stupid. You could cook
you could put like 24 in there.
24 burgers on that thing. I'm going to be using like one 6-inch by 6-inch square. In fact, the 24-inch smoker that I have, I use like one small. That's too big. But hey, if you can, That's
right.
the way I say it.
That's right. Go big.
It's the best outdoor kitchen we've done yet. It's pretty sick.
Hey, John, do you know the scents for the bags? We're going to look it up. So
it'll be on the site.
Yeah. Any plans to test out the new compact Ego pressure washer?
I did. It's not good. I did it at the right company. It did like 1.1 gallons per minute, and it didn't do well with orifice size change.
Right.
It just fell flat on its face.
Yeah.
It went from like 1,000 psi to like, as soon as you open it up, even a half size, to like 500. So it just doesn't have a big enough motor to. I mean, it's really good looking, really attractive. Works on a single battery. I was like, this could be great for mobile applications because it siphons right from a bucket, but it's not good.
All right, and then Ben's giving us crap because we've skipped. He's put about 10 chats in here. I've covered a couple of them. You ranted on the shed, so sorry, Ben. We didn't cover every one you asked. So
yeah.
Let's see here. What are your thoughts on washing cars in the garage and affecting the concrete soaking it up?
No, I mean,
it doesn't soak it up on your driveway, so why would it soak it up in your garage, right?
Right. Yeah. No, that's not a problem. The only problem with concrete is salt.
Right.
Right. So you'll end up with, you're talking like 50 years, right, of pitting. Like think about like an old like Massachusetts house, and the garage is all kind of pitted and beaten up. It's from the salt and wear and tear of expansion, contraction. But I mean, how are we going to be in your house for 15 years? I mean,
yeah, I mean, at your rate, it's 2 years and you're
for me, it
moving
doesn't
on,
matter.
right?
But I get, people who are going to have more of a long-term perspective on things.
Right.
But yeah, no, washing with soaps and washing.
If you're really worried about it, you could seal the floor before you put the Swiss tracks
you
down.
certainly could, yeah. But I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah.
It's. I don't think it's a problem.
All right. Morgan says, I have the Ego 580. Is it worth upgrading to the new 880?
I think it probably is.
Is it? Did they solve the sound issues? I know you had trouble with sound on some of the bigger.
There's no whistling or anything.
Yeah.
I mean, you need ear protection.
It's loud, right?
Yeah.
It's loud.
Yeah. I mean, I would only do it if you have another purpose, like if you use the Ego on your back porch and it stays back there. Like I wouldn't like. Even me, I wouldn't like throw away my 580 to get an 880, or I wouldn't sell it for like $50.
Right.
I would want to have like a different purpose for it. Even me, I'm struggling. I've got the two in there. Like, now what am I going to do with this 580?
Well, you can have one with long tube and one with short tube.
Correct. You got to have some sort of dual purpose,
Yeah.
or if you're just a baller, then go
Or
for
if you
it.
have, like I have an RV, I keep one in the RV.
Right.
So I like to migrate things through, different areas of life, right?
Right. Where's the most valuable spot, or where do you value the use of it the most? You put the best there, and then the hand-me-down goes to the secondary task that doesn't matter as much to you. And so, in my case, the 880, man, it's really good, really good. I feel like I get more battery life and like 1.5 times the output.
Right.
It's pretty sick.
Yeah, those Ego batteries are incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. John's asking, how is the port hall rug holding up? Still happy with the selection?
Yeah, it's not great. I got a port and hall, or port plus hall entry mat. That's that brown one going into the garage.
Right.
And then it's the other little gray one that's like this frickin' thick in the mudroom. I'd say they're both mediocre at best.
Oh.
The $1,500 one at the front door, though, is pretty sick. Pretty sick. The only problem with that one is, I got 2 girls in the house, and so the hair balls, it like sucks all the hair up.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's got like that kind
It's
of
grippy.
Yeah.
Right.
And so you've got to kind of clean it out all the time, because Michelle's got that thick, red hair. It's like a tripwires, man.
Right.
And it ends up in there. It's not good.
So we have a question. Have you seen Apex Designs push chuck replacement for the M18 compressor?
What?
I don't know what that is.
M18 compressor.
Is that a Milwaukee thing, M18?
I bet you. I know what he's talking about. I bet you it's the one. I saw this on Instagram the other day.
And then
This thing here, Apex. Oh yeah, Apex Designs. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. I just saw this on Instagram. I took a picture of them. Like, that thing looks pretty sick.
All right. Under investigation, I think, is the
Yeah.
response on that one. Any thoughts on discounting big orders for those of us who are overseas with limited accessibility to your products?
No. Why would I do that? The big order takes more work. It should just be a summation of the price of things, and then I should add an extra bump to it. The whole discounting based on volume, to me, just doesn't make any sense from a business perspective. I got to do more work to put it together. Like when I built packages of things, I don't like it. I'm not doing it. So the answer is no.
All right. So we have Cars and Culture tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
For those who are local, we may get some rain, and we might change the schedule a little bit if there's lightning or anything like that. So just stay tuned. How are we communicating that? Facebook, or do you know? Facebook, Instagram. So scent bags. Yeah. What are the scents, John?
So we have 3. We have leather and pine,
E92, and dialed in.
So for E92, it's citrus notes like lemon.
E90. Whoa.
Oh,
Hello.
boy.
E92 is what are you doing over there?
I'm looking at that Apex thing.
So E92 is a citrusy kind of scent.
Yep.
And then what's the other one?
Dialed in.
Dialed in.
Be like a new car with notes of suede, leather, and
Okay, and dialed in is a new car smell, leather suede, Berkema? Is that what you said? Berkema. Okay, that's interesting. But maybe that's a competitor for the Griot's product, right? Which is leather smell.
It's like a new car, but way better.
New car, but way better is what John's saying. I trust John on that. It's his favorite. So, all right. Let's see.
There's the chalk thingy.
Yeah, it looks cool. It's nice that it snaps onto the rim, so you don't have to hold it. Right?
Yeah. Yep. I still haven't even put the darn what's the one that we have, the twist lock or quick twist and lock.
Right.
Twist and lock that we have in stock. That I'm going to get one now and take it home with me and put it on mine.
Well, my favorite comment is Brian said, "Can keep the new host guy." So my name's Matt, by the way. So I think Adam LZ called me Matt 2.0. So
yeah.
I don't know if I'll be doing this more, but Michael will be back in a couple weeks, right? He's in Alaska.
Yeah. So actually, we might be back on next week.
No, I got to do this again.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see what the comments are on that.
All right. Well, we appreciate everybody joining us. The live is back. We may not be every week, but we're going to try to do it when Matt's in town. And
you got to build
the information flowing.
Build it back up. We're like 150 people. Normally we would have like 300 to 400.
Right.
So, but it's my fault for killing it. Now I got to re-engage it.
Yeah,
and we got to get the darn thing up on all the podcast apps.
We're working on that.
Yep.
Like I said, new team training. We're getting there.
Everything right now. Everything, just do it right now. Let's go.
And we do have some long-term plans to maybe have a more permanent podcast arrangement in the building. So we'll be working on that. So.
Yep. See you soon.
Right.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.